Okay, what a match. Wow. It's 3 a.m. here. I have to go to work in, I don't know, 4 hours and 50 minutes, whatever. But here's what it is. We're making this video. We're not sleeping. What a match. What a ridiculous match. And I'm going to actually start off with the crowd. It was actually interesting. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm completely surprised, but when you think about a crowd and Novak Djokovic, to have I think that crowd was at least neutral, if not 60-40 Novak. Like that's actually insane to think about it. In a Masters final, in an ATP 1000 Masters final against this young 20-year-old guy who's, ridiculously flash in a pan type of player, highlight reel type of player, um to have 60-40 support, like imagine going back to 2015 telling me that Novak would have 60-40 support over Carlos Alcaraz, or 2016, 2018, 2019, like any of the Novak domination years. Like it's just absolutely insane. So I guess there's a couple of reasons for that. When you look at, I don't know, Federer, although Federer of course always had the overwhelming support, but especially late like 2019 Federer. I guess it's kind of natural for the fan base of a sport to support the old legend, even if they disliked him in the past, because they are kind of aware, like, okay, this guy might never show up again. Like the Cincinnati crowd is like, okay, we might never see Novak Djokovic again play. Like for example, I'm pretty sure that Novak, what's wrong with my hair? I'm pretty sure that Novak is never going to play in Canada again. I'm pretty sure that he's never going to do anything in Monaco again. Like he might reach round three because his season is just not constructed that way. He might never play Miami or Indian Wells again. So I mean, he's 36. Next year is going to be 37. He's going to be focused on the Olympic Games. It's just like this guy might never play again. And at the end of the day, as a tennis fan, love him or hate him, he has been a part of your life for the past 15 plus years. And bunch of memories, good or bad. So it's like you have to appreciate it. That's actually, I think that's a normal human emotion to appreciate somebody who has been a part of your life for the past 15 seasons. So I guess that's one thing. And I guess the other thing, it's kind of insane to think about this, but I guess I thought about like Cincinnati, which is in Ohio, right? And Ohio's like a swing state when it comes to politics, 50% Democrat, 50% Republican. And guessing that also has an influence, like the whole COVID thing. Novak really got bad publicity at first, but now it's almost like that kind of turns around into good publicity. So Americans are not really known for like taking, most of them do not, agree with policies that basically force you to do something, take away your freedom, because freedom is the number one thing in America. And I guess Novak gained some positive, publicity at the end of the day because he did not take the vaccine. So it's actually crazy to think about it, but actually, I think that that also kind of contributed for the neutral fan to actually like him in America. And I was thinking about like crowds. What was the last bad crowd for Novak? I mean, 2019 Wimbledon was like notoriously bad. Like 99.9% of the crowd was totally against him. But ever since then, like I don't know, maybe Nadal 2022 French Open, but only at the key points of the fourth set, it wasn't like ridiculously bad. So it's almost like yeah, the crowds are actually not that awful. It's usually not going to be in the favor of Novak. It's like there's always going to be a couple of people who's like hecklers, just interacting in a negative way with Novak. But it's almost like the crowds are getting much much better. So that's actually a great thing to see. He's getting overwhelming support, and there's like nothing to dislike about him. Like you see him in the post match interviews. He's getting credit to the other guy. He's making jokes. He's being honest. How did he feel? How did he play? So I mean, there is nothing really to think about it. So, and of course, I just kind of randomly remember the 2021 US Open final when he was like the overwhelming crowd favorite, but that was kind of different. He was going for history and he was playing against a Russian guy. That's never going to be good in America. So when it comes to a match, I would say that I was actually thinking about this pre-match. Is hard court Alcaraz's worst surface? Because when you think about it, like he's a Spanish guy, so naturally he's going to be great on clay, and he is great on clay. He it's impossible to hit winners against him on hard courts, let alone on clay. Like you cannot just pass him on clay. His serve is okay. He has a lot of variance in his serve. He has a lot of creativity in his serve, but on clay that doesn't really matter. But he has a really good kick serve. Um, so clay is a really good surface for him. Everybody thought that grass is like this horrible surface for Alcaraz, but when you look at his game, like he has explosive forehand. He can hit winners from any part of the court. He can finish points quickly, which is the most important thing on grass. uh, defending is also important, but and also he has ridiculously good volleys. Like his volleys, his top volley is like absolutely ridiculously good. So it's like besides the serve, which is good, but naturally he won't have a really, really, really good serve because he's not 6'4", 6'5", or something like that. But besides serve, I mean, he has every single tool to be, uh, especially like now he has learned movement. He has every single tool to be a multiple time Wimbledon champion. I'm talking like 6 plus, 7 plus, whatever. And it's like that leaves the hard court. And of course, he's naturally a great player, so he's going to be great on every surface. But hard court is kind of like everybody plays on hard court. Everybody plays well. It's just like he's just a good player on hard court. Like when you look at his run at last year's U.S. Open, he played a bunch of five setters. When you look at this year's Cincinnati, he's playing a bunch of three setters. Like he's just having these close matches, and because he has the extra level of quality, he can win those matches. But it's not like he's dominating these guys. If you go back to French Open, if you go back to Wimbledon, like he was like winning sets 6-1, 6-2 against like guys who were like serving. He beat Berrettini like he broke Berrettini like 7 or 6, 7 times in that match. That was ridiculous. Like who breaks Berrettini 7 times on grass in 4 sets? Like what I mean? He was like he beat Tsitsipas like 6-2, 6-1, something 6-4, or 7-5, or 7-6. I don't remember, but it was like utterly destruction of Tsitsipas on clay. So it's like, and Tsitsipas is like arguably a top three player on clay. So it's kind of like when you look at it, I guess hardcore is probably the worst surface when it comes to Alcaraz. Now, when it comes to a match, of course, it was kind of a match of two parts, and I actually turned it off at when Novak got broken in the second set, because I thought it's done. Like I thought he was going to win pre-match, and then when I saw the temperature, the weather, oh my God, it was like 38 and sunny, and oh my God, I kind of remembered like he hates playing in heat. I mean, who loves to play in heat? But at the end of the day, he hates wind and he hates heat. So like obviously, that's not going to be ideal for him. And as I said, I pretty much turned it off after. He had three double faults in I think that was the third game of the second set, like back to back double faults. When did you see that last time? He was totally done. And then, I saw he got the break back, and I was like, okay, let me just turn this back on. And he saved the match point. The tie break was ridiculous, but he managed to do it. And then the third set was like almost like reminiscent of Wimbledon because he had early chances and he didn't use them. And you kind of thought, okay, maybe Alcaraz is going to break him. But you kind of felt that he was, marginally ahead on cardio, marginally ahead on points, but he was just failing to, quiz the ninth end just to get that additional break and just to close the match. He was, I think, 1 out of 13 on break points in the third set, which is ridiculous. And kudos to Alcaraz because Alcaraz is like he played. He was really tired, in my opinion. And you can see in his body language, and you can see the way he played the point on, I don't know, 15-30. He just like puts a backhand in the net. It was like the movement, the setup, everything was bad about that shot. And then on 15-40, he was like, okay, let me just save this break point. Like you can see the effort, you can see the lockdown mode, you can see the motivation, and that was actually great. Um, and when he finally got the break, uh, I thought it was over. And of course, he had two match points, and the second match point was absolutely ridiculous. And then the crazy 10 game, and anybody who says that we should get rid of juices and advantage and juice and all that, just look at the 10th game of the third set of that final. Like, that's why you have advantages. Like, that was absolutely ridiculous. The swings, the break points, the match points, the double faulting on match points, the winners on match points, the break point saves, the passing shots, the everything. Like, that's why you have advantages. That's why you have 10, 15 minute games. Like, stop making up stupid rules that there should only be 1 point after 40-40, and whoever wins that point wins the game. Like, that's actually utterly ridiculous. So yeah, uh it was actually insane to watch Alcaraz save so many break points, but I guess kudos to him because he was like maximally focused on saving those break points, and his kick serve actually came in clutch. Um, and then tie break. Actually, my stream went out at 3-3, and I saw that other people also had the same issue. Um, and I was actually so surprised that Novak managed when he had 5-4 in two serves. I thought, oh my God, he's losing like one serve for sure. But Alcaraz finally missed the return at 6-4, and he finally won the match. And the thing I wanted to say that irritated me the most as a Novak fan is this like so many points was Alcaraz defending, and then Novak gets kind of an easy-ish ball middle of the court, and he can go left or he can go right with his forehand, and he just plays this weird mid-speed top spin attack forehand with a lot of margin, with a lot of room to spare, like at least a meter, meter and a half, 2 meters from the both line, both the baseline, both the line on the side, and it just lands flat on Alcaraz's forehand or backhand, as a matter of fact, depends which side he attacks, and he can hit a ridiculously powerful shot on the run. It's just like perfectly lands on his racket. He can play his favorite shot on the run. And I was so frustrated watching that because, like, dude, you have to make up your mind. Either you're just not going to attack, or either you're just going to have to put it next to the line. Like you have to take a risk. You're going to miss some shots, but it is what it is. Like this is just absolutely ridiculous. And he lost so many points in the same exact fashion. He had this like easy-ish forehand in the middle of the court. It just kind of semi-attacks, but it's not good enough and just lands perfectly on Alcaraz's racket. And Alcaraz can take advantage of that and just win the point. So it's like it's kind of ridiculous to watch that. That thing he actually I'm pretty sure that his coaches have to see that because like you have to go harder against Alcaraz. And but sometimes he's going to guess the side correctly and he's going to, put a ridiculous passing shot there. But it is what it is. At least make him work for it. Like at least make him work for it. Not just like put it on his racket and lose the point automatically. And I guess on the other side, what would frustrate Alcaraz and his fans was the lack of production in Novak's second serve because Novak didn't have a good service. Like I mean, I saw the stat he hit 57% of serve, but it felt like he was like at 45. Like he was missing serves all over the place. He did hit a couple of big serves. I think he saved one break point for the Ace, and in the tiebreak of the third set at 5-4, he hit a really good serve. But besides that, like, I mean, bunch of second serves. He was missing left and right. Like I said, I was surprised to see 57%. Maybe he like stat that in a couple of easy games that he had, but like all the competitive games, I think was 50 at best. Like he was getting a second serve every second opportunity, and like Alcaraz didn't know what to do with it. So in the first part of the match, he was like Rafael Nadaling 6 meter behind the baseline. And it just didn't work out because he was too passive and Novak could, get advantage in the point. And of course, he wasn't even like returning well. Now he did mix up some lob returns, some just like moon ball returns, and that kind of worked occasionally because Novak did make some mistakes of those shots. I think he lost the service game in the first set because he actually missed the forehand on those moon balls, but it wasn't like really good tactics. So actually, Alcaraz completely changed his tactic when it comes to returning on second serve, and he went full 2015 Federer, just like going 3 meters inside the baseline and just trying to hit a winner. But that also didn't work out. I think maybe he hit like two or three winners of the second serve, but he was missing a lot. And Novak actually hit a couple of really good second serves down the T line. But it was like he couldn't find a balance. Either went too passive when it comes to Alcaraz's return and second serve, or he went too aggressive. So it was kind of weird to see, and it was actually I think by a significant margin, Alcaraz won more points on percentage wise, more points on Novak's first serve than he actually did on second serve, which is kind of insane. Novak I think won like 60+% of his points on second serve, which is which is ridiculous against a returner like Alcaraz. Now, when it comes to Novak's first serve, that's the frustration of Novak's fan base because he wasn't hitting the percentages he usually hits. And actually, I'm pretty sure that in the Wimbledon final, he also wasn't hitting good percentages when it comes to serve. I think he just like struggles. He has been struggling recently when it comes to serving in big matches, especially against Alcaraz. And when he hit them, he was like kind of, I don't know. Sometimes he mixed in the body. Sometimes he, mixed in different serves, but it wasn't like that effective hit. Maybe one ace or two aces, something like that. So it was like the first serve is absolutely, it wasn't effective on the grass. It wasn't effective on hardcore. So it's like, maybe Alcaraz has some sort of a read on his serve. I'm not sure. But yeah, that has to be, kind of worrisome to win like 50 or 60% of your points on first service of anybody. Like, that has to be worrisome. I would tell, I want to tell something else about this match, but I kind of forgot. Uh, yeah, so I'm just going to have to end this video right here, right now. Yeah, it was an excellent match. I think it was 3 hours 47 minutes. Uh, Longest match in Cincinnati tournament's history. Um, yeah. Also the stadium is really weird. Like, on the sides you have that giant stand, and on the other side also, but the rest of the scene is kind of like whatever. So it's a weird looking stadium. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so have a good one. I'm happy that Novak won 39th Masters tournament, another for the history books, and he has to win Monte Carlo one more time to have every Masters and every Grand Slam at least 3 times. But as I said, he probably won't do it. His season is just not constructed that way. But it is what it is. Okay, see you.